Hey everybody, welcome to Tea Time with Amy and Bev. We're back. Whoop whoop.
We are back. So how are you doing?
I'm doing good. If you watched the last video, hella bit of emotional release, which was wonderful. Coming back, feeling good. And one of the things that I thought I find very beneficial is with the holidays, I was able to go on a trip and I was gone out of my daily environment for 8 days. And it's quite interesting coming back because being out of my environment, I was in somebody else's and hanging out with them, seeing, how they operate, what their conversations are like, what they do on a daily basis, what they talk about, all the things. And I was in a fairly upbeat environment. So it was all good. It was very enjoyable. And it's always nice to get some time away. And when I got back, being even more observant of my energy and the people I'm around on a daily basis. So it really give me an opportunity to, because I was able to step out of my environment and now come back in, is like reassess my circle. And also not just that, but being even more in tune with me and my energy. So the biggest thing for us to do as individuals is to maintain our energy. And that means like not absorbing other people's energy, not getting sucked into their emotional behaviors and their conversations that don't feel good and all the things. And so when I got back, now, mind you, I do know that there are probably several people at this time that you have to spend time with every day because they're in your house, you work with them, whatever the case may be. Another topic is we all have choices too, right? We could change those relationships if we wanted to. We could change the job if we wanted to, but I'm choosing to stay in the environments that I'm in because they are very beneficial to me and my growth. And the I do have a lot of support, even though I don't always agree with the people that I'm with. And I don't always enjoy the conversations that are had. And I don't always enjoy their energy. But I, as an individual, am choosing to be in those environments for other reasons. But to recognize or being having more awareness of what those conversations look like when I got back. The one key person in my life that I'm around every day, the only way I can describe it is that the day I got back, she seemed like somebody had prodded her with a taser or something. Like she got some kind of electric shock, and she just seemed like she's squirrel minded anyway, but it was just a very weird energy the day I got back. And I was observing it and I found it very interesting how observant I was of it, but I was not getting into it. I wasn't getting sucked into it. I was just staying back from it, but watching it. And I was like, wow. Then I start thinking, is she like this every day? And I've been around it and been accustomed to it for so long now that I've just gotten used to it. So I started asking these questions inside, and I was like, she really like that every day? Because boy, she was on, nothing was going right. People were irritating her. She was like a flea fluttering around in the space. It was really bizarre. And I was like, no, she's not like that every day, but this something's off today. Um, and then the next day, her energy was different, was way different. So, and I had mentioned to her, I'm like, your energy yesterday was wild. And she goes, I noticed that too. So it was abnormal. And I was hoping in the moment that it was abnormal because I'm like, she possibly can't be like this every day, or I would have noticed this. But in anyway, that being very, very aware now, more aware of me and my energy in the spaces that I'm in, to the people I'm around and their energy, and what it was like before. So before, I was kind of getting drawn in, not kind of, I was getting drawn into the daily stuff, their conversations, the huge amount of judgment, um their energy. And I was feeling off, and I knew I was feeling off. So having that time away and then coming back, it was like a reset. But also, like I said, those opportunities when you can get away and just go get a breath of fresh air. Maybe it's for a day, you go to the mountains or be around nature or just whatever it means for you. And when you come back, really observe and notice the other people around you and how they feel. And are you interested in continuing those relationships? And it's okay if you're not. Um, are you interested in having those conversations, which are the typical conversations over and over and over again? Are you okay with that? If not, change it. And it might be changing the conversations, the dynamics of the conversations, or changing the the idea of being around them. So whatever it is you decide is okay for you. So sometimes we do need to step away from everybody and maybe realign and assess um, what it is you want, who you want to be with, what kind of conversations you want to be around. So I, it was very interesting. Every time I do that, I'm the type of person that after 2, 3 months, I need to go. I need to get away. I need to go do something, whether it's for a day or a weekend or a week. It doesn't matter. I just need to go. And every time this awareness gets stronger and bigger, and it's like, wow. So,
Yeah, it's louder. It's
right.
almost louder, right? Instead of it being a whisper, now you're actually more tuned into it all the time.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you say all this stuff because it kind of goes along with an experience that I had recently with a person that's been in my life for a while. We got along, but I would tell you that it felt like it was work a lot of times because it would have to because I would be in that space of staying in my power, vibrating higher so that other person can vibrate higher. Because the person would come in when I had my office and I would notice it, but it's like by the time we were halfway through the massage or even maybe a third of the way through, a shift would happen and that person would feel so much better and be like, "Oh my gosh, I feel so much better," and everything else. And so I had seen the person we had set up to go to the home or whatever, and some shifts around in the schedule had happened, and they were in agreement with the schedule shifting. And I came in, they welcomed me in, and I was like all happy, laughing. And it's like as soon as I walked in, it was like I was being chastised for something else. And it's like I had to recognize within myself what am I going to allow in my life anymore? What's okay for me still? And it's like this wasn't okay for me still. So it's like I just told the person I cannot do your massage. Um, I think this is it. So that's it. And I said, yeah, this is it. And then they had several words after that, and then it started uh, being aggressive towards me, and I didn't interact with that. They had said something and I said, well, that's a valid point. And then I just got in my vehicle and then I left. So that was the end of that. And it's like there comes a time to see what's acceptable in your life. Now, if I was pissed off when I left and peeled out and did all those things, then I feel like I would still have a lot to grow from that circumstance or situation. But for this, it was like, no, this doesn't honor my soul anymore. I'm not honoring myself by keeping myself around or in places that don't feel comfortable for me, that feel like I have to go in and work at the space. And that's a judgment now that I'm saying it out loud. It's not really to work at the space, but I'm really focused on my energy and being in the space, and it takes the other person a while to um, get through whatever they're dealing with at that time. And it was every time. So it's like it was just a way for me to honor myself. And it has felt, I haven't had any regrets for it. I haven't felt bad for it. I did go through processes after that to explore, like asking myself questions. Now, were you in the wrong? What should you have done this? Like I would start asking myself questions because I don't want to be, well, and then from a soul perspective, my soul's like, you can't be those things. You're not, if you're questioning these things, you're not being driven by ego. You're not operating the same way that you would have. You're not operating from the anger, the defensiveness, the keeping people separate or space from someone else so you don't get hurt. It wasn't any of those things. And so I recognize it as just growth. But it's like you bring all that stuff up and we don't know. But there was a long space in between the times that I used to see this person until the time was to see that person that day, like a few months. And so just that time space away from that person gave me recognition for a lot of things that needed to shift. And it's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing for myself and for the person because it gives that person an opportunity to go find somebody else or whatever that looks like for them. It's not for me to judge. It is just for me to have that experience and recognize what I will allow anymore. Because before I would put up with anything. Before I would have a person come into my space, and if they had any intentions that weren't good, I would make them stay throughout the whole massage. Like if they had there to pay me in dollar bills, well, hey, I'm not that kind of therapist. But there was things like that, and it was recognizing then I would have made that person stay there, like almost like teaching them a lesson. And it's like now I'm not that same person anymore. I don't need to teach anybody anything. I just stand in my own space. I have my own boundaries, and I have my own goals and aspirations of what my life looks like. And sometimes those people don't fit into it anymore, and that's okay.
Yeah. And every once in a while, it's good time. It is good to um, take an inventory. I had to find the word. Take an inventory of your relationships and the people you interact with on a regular basis. And I mentioned it in the last video, but I'll mention it again now. Is that 2025 is a 9 year, which is the end of a cycle in numerology. And in numerology, you have 1 through 9. So 9 is the end, and then of course beginning after that. So 2026 is a 1 year, and so when you're at the end of a cycle like this, it is a good time to take a pen and paper and write down the names of the people that you're around. And if it's a relationship that is no longer serving you, then it's okay to start creating distance between you and them. Maybe you don't text as often, you don't call as often, you don't visit as often, whatever it is, just start creating that distance. It doesn't mean that you don't like them anymore. It's just their energy, their conversations are no longer, you're no longer in alignment with them.
Yeah.
And if you're still hanging on to those relationships out of comfort because that's what you know, and you want to stay with what you know, it doesn't give you opportunity for growth. So when you start taking people and creating distance, then that fills or that opens up a door or a chair, so to speak, for somebody would come to sit in that chair who is more in alignment with where you are with yourself. So that's the thing about spiritual growth, um, personal development. that you are continuously evolving in yourself because you're recognizing these things. My conversations with this person are the same every single time. We focus on problems, we bitch and complain, we judge, and we get nowhere. And it doesn't feel good. The only thing that feels good is that you're in agreement with each other about how horrible this other person is, right? It's just those types of conversations, or how right you were in or you're both in agreement of you were right and they were wrong type of thing. So um there's no growth, there's no opportunity for other people to come in to lift you up even further in your personal development or personal spirituality if you're still hanging on to these other um, relationships out of comfort. So when you start creating the distance between you and them, now it opens the door to invite others in who's going to be at that vibrational frequency that you're at, so that you have somebody new and fresh to connect with and have different kinds of conversations that may feel a little better. And so you don't have to wait till the end of the year to do this each year. Any time is a good time to do this, but just to sit and list the people who you're around and whether you want to keep that relationship or start distancing yourself. If you're going to keep the relationship, for example, the people that are in your household and that you live with them, or the people you work with, and you're not having comfortable conversations, or energy just doesn't seem in alignment with you, then those types of relationships is, if you're choosing to stay in the household, you're choosing to stay in the work environment, start changing your perspective about them. This is where mindset shifts come into play, and realigning yourself with them in the sense of, how can I see the goodness in them? What things can I focus about them that are uplifting, or expresses gratitude? So you might have to dig a little deep on those ones if you're going to choose to stay in the environments that you're in. So I hope that's helpful for anybody listening.
It's a good reminder because I know these things, but it's also a good reminder to have that stated again.
Yeah.
It really it does give different perspective, and it is true. We kind of aren't in resonance with everybody all the time. It's just that's just the way it is. And I like you. I've never actually sat and wrote down the people that are in my experience, but I've also recognized there's a couple other people that I mean I've always gotten along with them great, but it's like I also see them falling away from my life, and that's okay. It's not a personal thing. It's a non-resonance.
Yeah.
We're just vibing at different frequencies is all, and that's okay.
Yeah. And it is
And it,
okay. So
yeah,
prime example, I'll just give you this prime example. What, 20 years ago or so, plus 20 plus years ago, I decided I needed to change my habits, which was 3 to 5 nights a week. Jose Cuervo and beer was my go-to, and that's what I did. That's what I knew. That's what felt good in the moment. And so I knew I had to change that because my body couldn't sustain um, that type of behavior, that punishment, that suffering. Plus, I had a son who I was, attempting to be my best version of myself, but wasn't going so well. It was at the time, but right looking back, um, so I knew I couldn't stay in the same environments if I wanted to change my behavior. So I stopped hanging out at certain places, public places, because every time I walked in the door, it was Amy's here. It was like Norm off Cheers, if you remember the series Cheers. Uh, Amy's here, and there would be a shot of tequila, like right now. And I just couldn't do that anymore. And so for me to change, I had to change where I was hanging out. So really, I just started hanging out at home more often. And but also I was implementing other practices like learning meditation, learning about writing and journaling, and reading personal development books and spirituality books, and doing, I was filling my time with other things. Several years. Every once in a while, I'd see somebody out in public who um, was in that circle of partying. Um, and, it was a surfacey, how are you? What's going on? What are you doing? Um, and then I got to where this was just by choice of I was working from home and then isolated myself for like 4 years. And now, well, 2.5 years ago, I said, I need to get out and I need to be in the public. I need to be around people. I need to be in the community. And now I'm stepped back into uh, being seen more in the community, especially because of my job, that I now see these people and it's a whole different, similar conversations. How are you? What's going on with kids? What have you been up to? Same surfacey questions, but not that energy of, oh, we need to go have a drink. Oh, we need to do a shot. Like it's none of that. And that's because I've learned and grown within myself, and I've changed that dynamics of that relationship. So sometimes you got to do what seems like hard things if you want things to change. And especially with people around you now, the people that were in my household at the time continued to drink, continued on a daily, and it wasn't easy being around them, but I just knew I had to do this for myself and for my son. So it it wasn't the rainbows and unicorns journey by no means. It was very difficult, but I had the wherewithal in myself to stay the course. And and every once in a while, I would, if they were out at dinner and they ordered some kind of like fruity margarita or something that I'd never had, I would take a drink. I would sip theirs. I wouldn't order one, but I would taste theirs. That was enough. I'm like, oh, that's pretty tasty. And then I would sit there and then I would feel the alcohol and I would notice what my body felt like. I was like, "Ooh, yeah, I'm good. I'll drink my tea or my water or whatever it was at the time. Yeah, I'm good with that." So sometimes it's not gonna be hard or it's not gonna be easy to change who you're hanging out with. I'm not gonna say this is a simple thing to do. What I'm gonna say is if you want your life to change, you have to make those changes. Bottom line, because nobody else is gonna do it for you.
It's true because they'll always be there to celebrate you with your shot of tequila.
Yeah.
And my environment was pretty much the same, and my kids were probably about the same age as your son was, and I was doing the partying and stuff too. Came from that environment, grew up in that environment, and it's like and I haven't drank for a long time, but it's like recently I had a tincture that I was having, and it's like they used vodka, and it's like I can barely tolerate using this stuff. I used it a couple times, and it's like I just can't. That just doesn't. It's I don't know. I don't vibe with it at all. It's
Yeah.
like there's got to be a better way to make this stuff besides using that kind of stuff because it doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
I know it preserves things, but yeah, it probably preserves your liver and stuff too. But it's like I don't need it. I don't need to have it like that. So it was interesting because before that wouldn't have been a big deal, but now it's like I have to choke it down like to just do
Yeah.
any of that stuff. So
Well, I
it's pretty
noticed
hilarious.
like at Thanksgiving, I had a glass of wine, but I also know that once I have a drink like that, I need to drink a bunch of water because I
Oh
just feel
yeah.
like I need to, not out of, a common sense or anything like that. It's just man, I need some water right now because I'm feeling, um, not dehydrated, but, I don't know, I can't think of the word, but just feeling like I need to drink some water right now.
I just feel dried out. When you say that, I just feel dried out. Like I just need to add some. some liquids to this. Like it's just more
Wow.
beneficial. Water is more
Yeah.
a higher vibrational frequency, I guess I could say.
Yeah. I'm just personally, I'm really super fascinated with wine. I'm not a wine drinker on a regular. I'm not a wine connoisseur by no means, but I'm super fascinated with how wine changes flavor based on what you eat with it.
Oh
That
yeah.
just fascinates me. And I just have to be very careful with that when I'm doing wine tasting because I can drink a sip of wine and eat a nut and be like, ooh, that's gross, right? I'm not gonna do that again. But take a sip of wine and eat a raisin and it's amazing. And I just will go down the line and eat and drink and eat and drink. So I gotta be mindful of that. But uh, very seldom do I ever do any of that. But anyway, wine fascinates me.
Yeah. It just goes to show you the transformation, and like you said, it's not always easy. It's not, but it's necessary. And then when you're at where you're at right now and looking back, it was perfect. It was exactly what was needed. That was what the doctor ordered. It was exactly it caused your progression. It caused everything. It changed your whole life. And then look at how many lives that you've affected with those changes.
Right.
Talk about having a lot to appreciate. Now
Yeah.
it's a lot of wonderful stuff.
Yeah.
It's really, really uplifting.
It's been a very eventful journey, internal wise, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
And
a so I would say I'm not this is what I told the people I was hanging out with. I'm like, look, I'm not a super exciting person to hang out with. I'm not going to entertain you really. I'm just, I don't need to be entertained. I don't need to go and do things all the time. The entire time I'm with you, like, I'm good, just hanging out, whatever. Um, but my internal journey has been super fascinating. When I think about all the things I've been through, the mental and emotional roller coaster, like all those things to me has been really thrilling. My external life, I don't see it as exciting as the internal. And to sit and tell somebody my story, there's so many pieces to it. Like it would take days, months. And
yeah,
then they wouldn't even understand what I was talking about anyway, the way I would explain it. So they get
makes
doses of
sense.
me.
Yeah. Well, it's all divine, so they get exactly what they need at the time. So, and then exactly what we needed to maybe walk through one
Yeah.
more time or to explain. So there's pluses to all of it.
Oh yeah. It's been great. So with that, my friends, at this time of the end of the year, take an assessment of not only your relationships, but your finances, your health, your career. Um, look at all the components of your life, categories, if you will, and then just see where is it you want to make a shift. And it could be just one little tiny shift in each category or one category you want to focus on. It doesn't matter. It's whatever works best for you. But just know that when you make a shift in one category, it affects all the categories. So if you only have the time and energy to focus on one thing, do it. If you have time and energy to focus on one thing in each category, do it. It's whatever works best for you. And just know that whatever you do is beneficial for all. And it's not only for you, but it's for the people around you as well. Just you have to just start. And that's what's important is just take that step. Any final words?
I would say when you're going through this journey, have grace and ease with yourself. You know,
Absolutely.
we can tell ourselves to do that with everybody else, but it's like we don't recognize that it's really this relationship that you're creating or having with yourself is the most important, and
Yeah.
to have that with grace and ease.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us. You know that other people are having these conversations out there in the world, and maybe some of your friends and family are those people. So be resourceful and share either our content or other podcasters or influencers information by sharing their links, sharing the content, sharing the books, whatever it may be that's helping you. It'll help somebody else. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Spreaker, Spotify, and Podcast Addict. So, with that, thank you for hanging out with us. Tea Time with Amy and Bev, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.